Tonight on Life on the Rock, we'll talk with several volunteers from the upcoming World Youth Day in Panama. We'll learn about Divine Mercy with Ken Ytsync-en, and we'll build the faith with Brother Leo, and much more. Welcome to Life on the Rock. Tonight, our guests are some World Youth Day volunteers. This past summer, we went down to Panama City, Panama, where World Youth Day is going to be this coming January 2019, and we talked to them about what motivates them, why they're volunteering so many months of their life, almost a year of preparation work for World Youth Day. So they share their faith and their excitement for World Youth Day.
We'll also go to Building Your Faith with Brother Leo.
We're now going to show you a short video by Ken Ytsync-en on Divine Mercy.
Growing up Catholic, I knew that Jesus died on the cross. However, I saw his act of sacrifice on the cross sort of as a general thing for humanity. I was in humanity sort of lost in the crowd, sort of like him dying for everyone in the phone book. You know, you can get your name in the phone book. It's not that special. You don't put it on your resume. And so Jesus dying on the cross was sort of like him dying for everyone in the phone book. He might know my name, he knows my number, but I've never got a call. And that all changed when I was 18 years old. I went to a retreat. I was sitting in the front row and the speaker said, "Did you know that when Jesus died on the cross, he died for you? And had you been the only person in the entire world, Christ would have still given his life for you." So I didn't know that. And those two little sentences captured my heart, and I made a decision to entrust myself to Christ. After this event, I started to rediscover the beauty of Catholicism, going back to my roots, and I also rediscovered the beauty of Divine Mercy. And I loved Divine Mercy because it really revealed how personal God's love is for each one of us. And I'd like to share with you a quote from Saint Justyna. Now, Jesus spoke to Saint Justyna. She wrote it down in her diary. But when I share this quote with you, understand that these words aren't just for Saint Justyna. But as I read them, understand that they're for you today. My mercy is greater than your sin and those of the entire world. Who can measure the extent of my goodness? For you, I descended from heaven to earth. For you, I allowed myself to be nailed to the cross. For you, I let my sacred heart be pierced with a lance, thus opening wide the source of my mercy for you. Come then with trust to draw graces from this fountain. I never reject a contrite heart. Your misery has disappeared in the depths of my mercy. Do not argue with me about your wretchedness. You will give me pleasure if you hand over to me all your troubles and griefs. I shall heap upon you the treasures of my grace. You see, my friends, when it comes to Divine Mercy, it's a personal thing. My name is Ken Ytsync-en from CatholicSpeaker.com. Thanks for watching.
I'm here with Barbara Tavares. You're originally from Brazil, and you speak 5 languages, and you help with a lot of the translation that's needed for World Youth Day. Tell us about your work.
Well, I'm responsible for the translations of World Youth Day, and we use 5 official languages to communicate with all the pilgrims in the world and try to do the World Youth Day the most international as possible. So with these 5 languages, we on the web page, on the social media, on whatever the people ask us from the different departments of the local organizing committee, we are serving in this way.
And it is so vital to World Youth Day running smoothly, to get translations so people understand what's going on and just to communicate the message. And you've been part of World Youth Day before?
Yeah. I've been participating. This is going to be my 3rd World Youth Day. I was in Rio, I went to Krakow, and now I'm coming working and serving as a volunteer for World Youth Day Panama.
This is your first time as a volunteer?
Yep.
Okay. And what's that volunteer experience been like for you?
Well, in a different country. I'm originally from Brazil. It's not a very different culture, but it's different. And the experience here, it's been very good as a missionary, also with other missionaries of my community. And like the experience of the church here is very close to the people. That when we arrived as missionaries, we stayed some at the house of the bishop and some went to another house. But already the bishop was the first Panamanian to welcome the pilgrims. Wow. So when we arrived here, we were like, wow, the church is really very close to the people. The young people have a great protagonism at the church. And for us, this was very, wow, I'm feeling very welcomed. And everybody welcomed us so well. The culture in Panama is so rich. And with dances, with music, food, and everything, like, oh, this is a very good place to stay.
Yeah, we were talking to another organizer. They were telling me that there has been a lot of outreach to young people in parishes, like to prepare the Panamanian people themselves to participate and to welcome people to World Youth Day.
Yeah, at the parishes they're doing all the motivation for the people to open their houses and to welcome the pilgrims and all these things. And as Panama had not many people know about World Youth Day in Latin America. And as Panamanians, the people didn't know much about World Youth Day. So it was all, we doing this work of doing the knowledge of World Youth Day and sharing this for the people who were opening their homes.
Now you're giving a lot of time and energy and effort. Why? What motivates you?
Well, we have received so much from God, right? And it's really lots of work and lots of things to do, many things that I don't know how to do. And I get like, oh God, I'm 23 years old, I'm not graduated, but you sent me here and at least my heart will be here. And I have the experience that once we put our heart, many things become possible. Trusting in God, and this is the way I'm finding, because if I depend on my knowledge, I wouldn't go much forward. Right.
That is very much in the message of Pope Francis. I was reading his message to World Youth Day, and he talks about courage, and the fears that young people might have, and that he's asking for courage from young people to
here we are. Yeah, afraid, but asking God the grace of courage, and trying to do the best possible, because we know the gift that World Youth Day is for the young people and for the world and for the church. We can touch in this by translations. Try to find translators and people. There are people who are atheists, there are people who do not believe, but they also want to do this service for free, because they know they have knowledge of the common good. So, well, it's a great grace, and we touch in this, like World Youth Day, that motivates young people to discern their vocations, to find their way in the church. And it's so beautiful to work for World Youth Day and touch in these realities and see like everything that God entrusts us in the service of the church here. It's a way that send us to the people, and that it's a way of evangelization too. So as missionary of this community, we are propelled to evangelize the youth. Right. And in World Youth Day, we can also do this in a very good way.
In a very global way.
God opens the doors. The meetings with the embassies, with the people from the government, also the poor people, the people who have everything, everybody, and it's really for everyone.
Right. Well, thank you, Barbara, for sharing your faith with us. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
Hi, I'm with Sanda Jehie from Germany. Tell us where in Germany you're from.
I'm from the southwest of Germany, near Lake Constance. It's close to the Swiss border. Okay. It's a very beautiful place.
Is it?
So, yeah.
So you're far from home.
Yes, I'm far from home.
Yeah, but you lived in South America for a few years, right?
I have lived in Chile before and in Brazil.
Okay. And you were raised Catholic, but you experienced a deepening of your faith through a friend. Tell us about that.
Exactly. I come from a Catholic family, but my family was not so devout. But I had a good friend who was from a very Catholic family, and for several years I spent all her like every day at her home, and that influenced me a lot.
Right.
And it just showed me that God is at the center, or should be at the center of your life.
Right.
That's what I saw in this family.
So what motivated you? You felt like a call from God to come be a volunteer at World Youth Day?
Yes, actually the first time I participated in World Youth Day was in Cologne, in Germany, and it was so great that I was like, oh, I want to spend my whole life only for World Youth Day, and I want to work for World Youth Day. And at the next World Youth Day I sent them an email and I asked, how can I work for World Youth Day? But I didn't get an answer. So after some years I actually forgot it a bit, but then last year I saw that the Bishops' Conference was looking for a volunteer, and then I saw that and was like, wow, that was my dream. And then I applied for that. It was a job offer. So
Is that the German Bishops' Conference?
yeah, the German Bishops' Conference. And so I applied and I put it in God's hands, and now I'm here.
And what kind of work do you do here as a volunteer?
I'm in the International Relations Department, and we are keeping contact to the bishops' conferences, to the congregations, movements of the other countries, and we answer their questions, receive them for visits if they come to visit us to have meetings, and I also translate the contents that we send them.
So there's a lot of correspondence, a lot of translation
It's
that's necessary.
a lot of translation and a lot of correspondence.
What about like working with the other volunteers? Has that been a rewarding experience for you?
Yes, it's a great experience. It's really enriching to get to know more people, and everybody with his cultural background has another way of working, another way of thinking, another way of being, and that's very enriching to know all the cultures and to know all those people.
Yeah. And you were telling me earlier, one thing that's blessed you is of Ignatian spirituality, to develop a relationship with God. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yes, in my childhood I was more focused on following the rules, but Ignatian spirituality puts a lot of focus on your personal relationship with God.
Right.
And I started I started praying more in a way that I listened to God instead of talking to Him. And this widens your horizon, and
Right.
yeah.
And you find yourself at World Youth Day in Panama, right?
I'm here, yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much, Sandra, for talking with us. Thank you. I'm here with Justyna from Poland. You're a volunteer here. Tell us about your work in Panama for World Youth Day.
I'm working as a volunteer in the Direction for Volunteers. So I'm inviting everyone to be one of us.
Okay.
That's
because there's usually at a World Youth Day there might be like 30,000 volunteers, right, during the event itself. And
here we expect like 25,000 volunteers, 5,000 international, and more or less 20,000 national.
Now you're a veteran World Youth Day volunteer. You've been to 3 others. This is your 4th, right? How is this one different, do you think?
Oh, the biggest difference is that I can be part of all the preparation process, because for the very first time I came for a long term.
Right.
So I work for like I will be working for 10 months.
10 months.
For like all the time for preparation, and it's a big difference than just being a volunteer for 2 weeks or 1 month.
Right.
So because of that, I had to live all my life in Poland. The work, studies, family. My boyfriend is still waiting for me there. So it was a difficult decision, but actually you cannot regret any moment here, because the feeling that you can help to all this event, you can help to all these people that you used to be one of them, receiving the event, and now you can be part to give this emotion to people, and be part of all the smiles that will appear on the faces of pilgrims. That's amazing, and that's why we do it.
And you were sent by the Polish Bishops' Conference?
Yes,
through them?
In Poland, Polish people are always feel a really deep connection with the World Youth Day because of the John Paul II, who is from our country, and he created the World Youth Day. In Poland, there were many people who applied to be long-term volunteer. And from more than 100 applications with some interviews, they finally choose 2 of us representing Poland here.
Oh, wow. What was the Krakow World Youth Day like? You were there, you volunteered during those events. Was that very powerful for you and for the country?
For the country, yes. Yes, because not every time people have the opportunity to feel it by themselves, because it's far, because they have to get somewhere. If it's in your country, you have to think, whoa, it's closer than even before. So it gives opportunity to all of people in Poland who want. They just do it. They just go. It was really nice, the cooperation. All Poland, they could feel they are
united.
They are united for the event. Yeah. So that was amazing. And for me personally, from each World Youth Day, I have one special memory, which always give me more power to work. Yeah. And in World Youth Day in Krakow, I was like a driver for bishops. And one time I was driving a bishop from Paraguay, and the way how he talked to me, how he treats me, for him I wasn't one of 1,000 volunteers. I was you, Justyna Urbanowska. I want to know your story. You are very important. You are unique, and that's how we should treat all of us. So that was really a good lesson, how he treats me, to treat everyone, that everyone, it's unique, it's important.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with us.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Brother Leo Mary, and in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 121 to 123, the Church is talking about the heresy of Marcionism. Now, when I first looked at Marcionism, I thought it was Marconiism, and then I said macaroniism, and it came to me, macaroni and cheese. And that is a way that we can understand Marcionism, is we can compare it with macaroni and cheese. Now, Marcionism is a heresy that says we reject the old because we have the new. As the Church says, the Church has always vigorously opposed the idea of rejecting the Old Testament under the pretext that the new has rendered it void. And so this heresy, saying that we reject the Old Testament because of the new, is wrong. And so it's like macaroni and cheese. If I reject the macaroni and I just want the cheese, well, I can't have macaroni and cheese. I have to have both and, the macaroni and the cheese. And it's the same with the Catholic Church's teaching. We need the Old Testament and we need the New. The Church also says that the Old Testament, these writings, are a storehouse of sublime teaching on God and of sound wisdom on human life, as well as a wonderful treasury of prayers. In them, too, the mystery of our salvation is present in a hidden way. And so the Old Testament, the mysteries are hidden in a hidden way, but we have Jesus Christ who brings those mysteries out into light. He fulfills the Old Testament with the New Testament. And so when you read the Old Testament and you read the New Testament, think about macaroni and cheese. And when you eat macaroni and cheese, think about the New Testament and the Old Testament and how we have to read both of them. And a little trick that I learned when I'm having hard time in my prayer life, maybe I'm dry, I will read the Old Testament because the Old Testament has a lot of action. If you read Maccabees and Judges and the Kings, all these are stories of action. A lot of killing, a lot of fighting, all that good stuff that I grew up with. And so it helps me to get back in the mood for reading the other spiritual stuff. And so if you are dry in prayer, try reading the Old Testament. It's an uplifting experience.
Well, I really enjoyed our trip down to Panama and meeting those World Youth Day volunteers. They're spending, some of them are like 8 or 10 months, spending 8 or 10 months as a volunteer. Oh. I was really struck by what Barbara said from Brazil, that she speaks 5 languages.
Yes.
Very competent, talented young woman. And yet she talked about being kind of overwhelmed by the challenges. Mm-hmm. But she said something I thought was so beautiful, that when we put our heart into it, we make that decision in our heart that I'm going to give myself to this. She said, all things become possible by God's grace. Yeah. And she said, how can we not give generously in return after what we've received from God? Yeah. And sometimes we're not aware of what we've received from God.
Yeah, and a lot of it, you know, God gives us so much. And so often we can really be kind of like indifferent to how much we have received. Just a lack of like gratitude. But just being really kind of aware of God's love for us is huge. Mm-hmm. Like Barbara, you know, she has been to, I think, 3 World Youth Days now, you know, and now she's serving and she's really organized and coordinating. And as she said, it's not that she has like the greatest experience, but she's doing it and she's, you know, getting people involved, and she's got a big role to fill, you know, especially with speaking 5 languages. You know, that's no easy task. Yeah. But with God's grace and God's mercy, that can make it happen.
Right, so if we have that awareness, as Ken was reminding us, that it wasn't just like this kind of indifferent blanket redemption, but that Jesus has a very personal love for each one of us. You know, Justyna from Poland kind of echoed this too, that she was carting that bishop around, and she said she was touched by his, you know, his tenderness towards her, in the sense that he was concerned, his concern for her and who she was.
And our souls are so dear to God that we probably don't even comprehend it ourselves, how dear we are to God in that love for her.
And Justyna has talked about how that changed her whole way of working with the pilgrims, that she tried to reflect that that awareness of how unique every person is to God. Mm-hmm. So that is our Into the Vineyard challenge this week for you, to be aware of God's mercy, His tender love for each one of you. You're unique and special. He made you. He loves you. He wants you to be with Him for all eternity. And it's not just some indifferent love. He loves you personally. So whatever work we do in the vineyard, wherever He leads us or places us, we need to have that awareness of what we've received and how we can share that with others. That should be our motivation. So may God send you into that vineyard with awareness of that love, and bless you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We'll see you next week on Life on the Rock.
Body facts, hey yo, Body facts, yeah, my true warrior.
Eyes wide, prime, ready for the highest climb. God starts writing in stride to pin horizon lines, watching for the rise and shine, brighter by design. Light the world on fire with the gleam in his eye. I got a long list of living that I'm dreaming to try. I'll put my steps in any order, stepping evenly by. I took a bite out of the sun to get my piece of the pie. I tried to do it on my own, my road recently dry. I hold a shooting star right in palm of my hand. I'm giving pieces to the masses for the people's advance. Laughing in the face of death and evil's command. I deal with no one but my maker, not the feet of a man. We're scared to death, we're scared to move. Comfort got you shook, froze, fearing what you lose. Gotta illuminate a rhythm to jumpstart their hearts. Lighten your soul, just gotta do your part.
Yeah, brilliant race for the world to see. Hands and feet of His divine mercy. Shine your light where the darkness be. And it is time for invasion, time for invasion.
Light coming and now the night running. Got plans to advance my stance, to fight something, one chance in a dangerous dance that don't move. Both hands hold me true, so where you? Light living and now the night isn't. Give thanks to the power that breaks down the prison. One chance in a dangerous dance to break through. You gotta go where the light it takes you.
Oh yeah.
Light in your face till your pupils are dilated. People scared at every angle for fear they might make it. Blind date certified. Solos de la Rocha for the person I wanna strive to become by a certain time. The bright circling hovering lights above you, around you and in you are the proof that He loves you. Life's not a blindfold race that you run by. Time to open up and catch the rays of the sunshine. I leave the light on for the ships to harbor sailing in. Weather for the champions of many still to fail to win. Soul glow city with the love that burns bright. Hold tight, you just look for the light. Look for the light.
Brilliant race for the world to see. Hands and feet of His divine mercy. Shine your light where the darkness be. And it is time for invasion, time for invasion.
Light coming